Hey, I just thought I would share some interesting facts that probably is not known to a lot of people. Um, this day, Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday celebration, which his birthday is actually on the 15th, but we celebrate it on the 20th. Um, it's a national holiday because of some pretty interesting people, probably that a lot of people don't even really know, unless you lived back then in the late 70s, early 80s. Um, we can thank, obviously, Coretta Scott King, may she rest in peace and her memory be eternal, John Conyers, but the ones that people probably would never even think, unless you lived back then, helped to establish Dr. King's Day being a holiday was musicians Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott Herron. And I also want to thank Bob Marley because he was supposedly going to do the tour. He got sick, and you guys know what happened after that. So I just thought I would share this with you guys. Gil Scott Heron is one of my favorite poets, and I dig Stevie Wonder's music a lot. So it's just amazing to see how music played a part in establishing this holiday. Here's the article. This article actually is from another article, but this is like an excerpt, so I'm going to just read that. And I'll post the original article and also a few other articles that I've read on that as well. Gil Scott Heron's A Reflection on Stevie Wonder's Hotter Than July tour was extracted from The Last Holiday, a memoir by Gil Scott Herron. May he rest in peace and his memory be eternal. The full excerpt was first published by The Guardian in 2012. Memphis meant music, and unless you stop to think for a minute, you might forget that it was in Memphis that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed on a motel balcony on April 4th, 1968. Stevie Wonder did not forget. In 1980, Stevie joined with members of the Black Caucus in the U.S. Congress to speak out for the need to honor to honor the day King was born, to make his birthday a national holiday. The campaign began in earnest on Halloween of 1980 in Houston, Texas. Stevie's national tour supporting a new LP called Hotter Than July, featuring the song Happy Birthday, which advocated for holiday for King. I arrived in Houston in early afternoon to join the tour as an opening act. By January 15th, 1981, King's birthday, I had been on the Hotter Than July tour for 10 weeks. And here's a picture of Gil and Stevie. You know it was the 80s, if in late 70s, early 80s, because look at those beads and Gil's natural. The Hotter Than July tour was a project that, when taken as a whole, was set up to cover 16 weeks or 4 months, a third of the year. The endeavor was cut into 2 6-week halves with a break, a resting period that lasted a month. In essence, this rally was the halftime show before the 6 weeks half. One thing that knocked me out looking at this halftime show was how much I had not thought about it. Like, how much work was involved in organizing a fucking rally. That's what that was what Stevie had done, and what had to have taken up so much of his offstage time when we were playing, and what must have consumed what I was calling a resting period. The rally, ways to publicize it, ways to dramatize it, ways to legitimize it. My respect for Stevie Wonder expanded in every direction that day. I was following his lead like a member of his band, because seeing as he had envisioned was a new level of believing. It was something that seeped in softly, and when you were personally touched by someone's effort, a genuine sincerity, your brain says you didn't yet understand it, but your soul said you should trust. We took to the stage, the crowd continued to chant Martin Luther King Day, and we took a holiday. Stevie stepped up to the mic and addressed them. "It's fitting," he said, "that we should gather here, for it was here that Martin Luther King inspired the whole nation and the world with his stirring words, his great vision, both challenging and inspiring us with his great dream." People have asked Stevie, why Stevie, as an artist, why should I be involved in this great cause? I'm Stevie Wonder, the artist, yes, but I'm Stevlin Morris, a man, a citizen of this country, and a human being. As an artist, my purpose is to communicate the message that can better improve the lives of all of us. Sorry, you guys, truck in the background. I'd like to ask all of you, just for one moment, if you will, be silent and just to think and hear in your mind the voice of our Dr. Martin Luther King. Somehow, years later, it seemed that Stevie's effort as a leader of this campaign has been forgotten. But it is something that we should remember just as surely as we should remember for April 1968. We should celebrate January 15th. And we should not forget that Stevie remembered. Memory eternal to Dr. Martin Luther King and Gil Scott Herron, and also Bob Marley. Yeah, I'm not forgetting that. When I found this out, it was a few years ago, and I was amazed to find out like what he did. Stevie was involved, and for me, it's a great thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, and that's why we have this holiday. And Gil Scott Herron just even making light of Stevie's work, and him being in on it is really cool too. I mean, Gil Scott Herron, like, he inspired me in even the way that I write sometimes, man. Like, that guy, his words, his voice, and his delivery, whether he was singing or reciting, he's like the godfather of rap. Here's Gil Scott and Stevie. I think these are pictures from the mid-'70s, though, based off of like how they looked. Here's another. This is the 80s version right here, as I was talking about earlier. Real cool, man. Stevie and Bob were really good friends, and he would have done that tour, but he succumbed to cancer, unfortunately. And you know, before he wanted to do it, but he was really sick. And Gil Scott was a great choice to step in. Both have had a history of talking and speaking truth to power when it came to their art and music. There's Steve and Bob again, and in the mid-'70s, actually. This is the tour that they went on, It's the Hotter Than July tour for that album. It's a cool cover too. And I guess this was one of the flyers that was check this out, y'all. Like, that was back then. And yeah, now we have this holiday. Yep. Stevie and Coretta Scott King. This is a great picture with both of them. I know she was proud of what Stevie did by helping, if not like really putting the drive in having this holiday established. It's a trip what music could do. What you can do. That's what I feel like as a musician I have an obligation to do that. And in some ways I've been fortunate to have where I use music to help, instead of harm. But this is not about me. Stevie said it best. It's about us, and yeah. I just thought I would do this because I thought this should be known. Stevie Wonder was more than a musician. Gil Scott Herron was more than a singer and poet, musician himself. These guys were activists for their time. And Stevie still speaks up. I know that. This is what inspired me too, as far as like their music and their action, what they talk about. Anyways, I'd like to know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Happy birthday, Dr. King. Oh, as a side note, there was Jimmy Carter actually tried to propel this in. Now, this is the president. Tried to pitch this to the House, and he got rejected. So it shows what music. I mean, these guys were not in the political arena like that, at least, but they made that change by, having the people using their music and their talent as a platform to have this great day and to speak out on things like racism and all that stuff. Yeah, and as a side note, and I probably shouldn't even mention this, but I'm going to. Jesse Helms was horrible. He's the one that shot this down. And you guys know that John McCain was not too fond of the holiday either, which is why I have nothing to say about him. But anyways, shout out to Stevie Wonder, Gil Scott Herron, and Bob Marley, and anyone else who helped with that. And with that tour, and just, I'm saying too much. God bless you guys. Have a great day.